great to see all the media interest in the success of tax reform. Speaking of which, we had some really great news last week, spurred on by the new tax reform law. For starters, new data revealed that consumer confidence hit a 17-year high last week. People are optimistic about the future, which encourages more spending, more investment. It's a sign of a healthy, growing economy. Second of all, Labor Department reported that jobless claims in the United States, the number of people filing for unemployment, dropped to its lowest level in almost 5 decades. Think about that for a second. We saw just last week the number of people filing for unemployment going to the lowest level in 49 years. People are getting work. Companies are hiring more workers. This is very, very important. Also, U.S. manufacturing is expanding at the fastest rate in nearly 14 years. These are all very encouraging numbers, and it's undeniable that real people are being helped by the personal tax cuts in the Tax Cut and Jobs Act. To top it all off, 2 more major companies, Carter's and Mission Produce, announced it would pass along the benefits of tax reform to its workers. Thanks in large part to the bonuses given by hundreds of companies due to tax reform, the Bureau of Economic Analysis estimated that Americans took home an increase of $30 billion alone in January. The agency also estimated that the law reduced personal taxes in January by a rate of $115 billion per year. That's huge. That is more evidence that paychecks are growing, that take-home pay is bigger, that workers have more for their families. One thing that I got to say hasn't gotten a whole lot of attention, it's the fact that this law doubles the per-child tax credit to $2,000 per child. That means moms and dads, often people who need this relief the most, are going to be helped in a really big way. Take Andy Mateague in New Jersey. He told the Ashbury Park Press that he's going to put this extra money because of the $2,000 per child credit that he now gets in his paycheck towards tuitions. So this tax reform law is really making a positive difference in people's lives. That's why we're here, to make a difference in people's lives. What we're seeing is it's helping families save for college. It's helping families put money away. It's putting more money in people's pockets. And it's also expanding economic growth to the point where unemployment is now at a 49-year low. That is exactly what we were hoping to achieve when we passed this law, and we're very excited to see those results materialize. Any questions?
Tax related.
Mr. Speaker, could you comment on the tariff announcement from the president? What have you spoken about to him regarding that, and are you hopeful that he'll pull it back?
Yeah, so that's fairly broad. Let me say it this way. There is clearly abuse occurring. Clearly, there is overcapacity, dumping, and transshipping of steel and aluminum by some countries, particularly China. But I think the smarter way to go is to make it more surgical and more targeted. So I think 232 is a little too broad, and I think it's more prone to retaliation. And so what we're encouraging the administration to do is to focus on what is clearly a legitimate problem and to be more surgical in its approach so that we can go after the true abusers without creating any kind of unintended consequences or collateral damage. I'm sorry, we don't do the blurt out thing. Anna.
Mr. Speaker, what's your message to markets that fell on the news that Trump was going to announce tariffs and then rallied yesterday when you said through your spokeswoman that you're...
Honestly, I'm not watching the gyrations of the market. What we're trying to do is make sure we have good economic policy. And just to repeat what I said, we think the smart approach, the best approach, and the president's right to point out that there are abuses. There clearly is dumping and transshipping of steel and aluminum. That's absolutely happening. There's a big overcapacity problem. Let's go focus on that. Let's go focus on the abusers of that. And that is why we think that the proper approach is a more surgical approach so that we do not have unintended consequences. That's what we've been encouraging the administration. The person who's running point on us is the Ways and Means Chairman, Kevin Brady. He's been working on some solutions with the administration. Those talks are ongoing, and I'm encouraged that hopefully we can get to a good place. Well, look, we think the economy is doing very well. We want to make sure that every step we take helps the economy. We want to make sure that abusers are held to account, especially China when it comes to dumping and transshipping. But we also want to make sure that every step we take forward does not create any unintended consequences.
Is there any sense that you're making headway with the president on this?
Look, I'm not going to go into our private conversations. We've had multiple conversations about this. He knows our view. Every now and then, we're just going to have a different approach on how we should tackle these problems. But it should be acknowledged that there is a problem that needs to be addressed here. We just want to make sure that it's done in a prudent way that's more surgical so we can limit unintended consequences. Thank you.